Hello, hello everybody. Welcome back to Third Academy's Community Management 101 Guest Speaker Live section. This is our week two in our community management course that we started last week, and so far we've talked about introduction to Web3 community management. We had a section last week with James Richard Fry where we talk about how you could start strong as a community manager. And today we have Eliot Couvant with us who will be talking to us about community building, how to set goals, how to bond your members. So if you have any question about building communities, Elliot is your guy. I mean, he's going to be able to answer all your questions about that today. Now for us to get started, we would want to, hear from Elliot to know, like, would want to learn your origin stories, right? How come about Web3? How did you get into Web3 and building communities? Because, personally, I read about your book. It was one of the books that was very helpful to me just when I started out as a community manager, and that was how I was able to connect with you. And over time, you have shared so much wisdom in building communities, especially from your experience. So we'd want to know, like, how did you get into Web3 and into building communities?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me well?
Yes, loud and clear. Thanks.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction. So yeah, I'm gonna introduce myself a bit more here. I'm Eliot. I'm originally from France, as you can surely hear from my accent, but I now live in the US in San Francisco. And so I joined the Web3 space about 3 years ago. I joined a couple of communities as a contributor first, and I like really like working in those communities and see like how Web3 can really empower people to work together. And so I decided to join Coinvise, which is a DAO tooling platform, as their head of community. And so basically, what Coinvise is doing is building tools to empower those community builders. So if you want to create NFTs, if you want to create social tokens, if you want to do airdrops, or if you do vesting schedules or whatever, we build the tools for this. And so for the past 2 years, I've been their head of community, and my goal was really to just talk to community builders and understand their problems, and then like talk to the team so that they can build the solutions. So it was like really interesting, to talk to dozens of founders, and I got the chance to work with like major communities like Friends with Benefits, Forefront, Jump, Global Econ Research, and a couple of others. Um, and so, yeah, that's about it. I learned a ton for 2 years. And then about 6 months ago, I decided to quit Coinvise to focus on sharing my knowledge. And so it's in the past in the past 6 months that I wrote two books on community building. The first one really focusing on like how to grow from 0 to 1. And the second one more how you can build a community that lasts for years. So more from like 1 to 100. And yeah, that's about it. And now these days I'm like doing some consulting stuff, writing my book, sharing my knowledge, and like writing for a couple of leader and a community builder in the space. So yeah, that's mainly it.
Well, I love very much where just as we're talking about, you just said talking about how to build a community from 0 to 1, and how you have been sharing your knowledge. And I've also been like a very big fan, reading your newsletter, always keeping up with your newsletter, and so much knowledge that you share there about different topics. So but I would want to ask, like, as a community builder, and someone that has gone through that process, someone that has gone through that experience, like, what initial strategies or tactics, right, can you give to someone who's trying to grow their community from scratch? What would your advice be to them to start strong in their communities?
Yeah, sure. And so that's a really good question. But actually, just before we start, would love to say that I don't have all the knowledge here, and I feel like for you to be more interesting, it would be better if like everyone can chime in and just share their knowledge as well. I don't know if some of you have already started their community, but yeah, I don't want this to be just like a 1 hour me answer questions, but just like having all of us learn together because I sure I can learn as much from you as you can learn from me. So yeah, maybe I can just start answering the question, and then you can all come in and add your inputs and what you have to add, if that's all right with everyone. All right, I'll take that for a yes.
Yes.
But so yeah, to your first question, with which is like how do you attract your first members, basically. I would say there are two main approach here. So the first one is what I call the hack first community. And so basically you create something that is so valuable for your members that they just come in, and then there's an advantage for them to create a community around it. So as an example, I really like to give like Notion. So they've built this awesome software where you can organize your life easily. So that's their hack. People come on Notion just to organize their life for themselves. But then they discover there's a community around that that can share template. And so instead of you having to start from scratch every time, you can leverage the power of the community to have some other templates right, like just there for you. And so that's what I call the hack first community. And the second approach is the creator first community. And in that case, you are passionate about a very specific topic and you start talking about it, building an audience. And from there, you create a community around your audience. So another example here is Dicky Bush. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but he has created the community Ship 30 for 30. And so basically, he's really passionate about helping people start writing online, and so he started like posting content about it, and from there he built a community so that people can be accountable for each other. So you come for the content and say you stay for the community because the community keeps you accountable. So those are the really two main approach to building a community and get your first member. Either you create a hack, or you are a creator first and then you build a community around your content. Now, if you want some more like basic tactics to bring your first member in your communities, it's actually pretty straightforward, you know. But like if you want to create a community around a topic, usually it means that you're passionate about this topic, and so you usually know a couple of people either from forums or friends of Twitters that you can reach out directly and ask them to join your community. That's the first one. The second one is to join other communities related to what you want to create, and just like go and try to add values, and eventually some people will come in your community as well. And third one is to actually start sharing your passion online, meaning like creating content on Twitter, on Substack, wherever you want, and share your vision, and eventually having some people sharing your vision, wanting to join your community. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So either you create a hack, either you're a creator first, and then from there you can like invite your friends, join other communities, and try to bring those members into your community, and finally share your story so that people can uh, relate to what you're building and like want to join your community.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And just to add to that, I think that another way is, when you have like a clearly defined purpose, it becomes sort of easier to rally, others around that purpose. And when you're solving a problem. And that brings me to I remember there was a time that I read I think it was the five pillars of community building, something around that topic. And you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
something about EAU framework. Can you like tell us like in like 30 seconds? Can you talk to us about the P? I think it's painful, acknowledge, urgent. If I can
Yeah.
remember very well. Yes. So can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So basically, when you start a community, you have to find your why, like the main reason why people would want to join. And usually, like if you're passionate about music, you will say like, "Hey, I want to create a community for people passionate about music." But the fact is that it's not like a real reason for people to join and engage and stay together. And so you have to create your why and find your why. And to find this, I've developed this call framework, which is like the PAU framework, which stands for painful, acknowledge, and urgent. And basically, you have to find a problem that is painful, acknowledge, and urgent in order to attract them. Because like the thing is, like if you're trying to solve a problem that is just a little embarrassing for people, but not really painful, it won't be enough for them to really join your community. Then, if you're trying to solve a problem that is not yet acknowledged by your audience, you will spend time and times and hours trying to convince them they have this problem versus them like knowing this problem and joining your community. And finally, you need to find a problem that is urgent because people always take action when it becomes urgent. You know, it's human nature. So try to solve a problem that is in their day-to-day reality. So you can ask yourself, like, what are they trying to improve today? What do they need help with today? What do they struggle with today? Um, And if you try to find a problem that is painful, acknowledged, and urgent, that's when you really have like the beginning of the vision of your community, and when you have really something that is powerful enough for members to join. But like again, if you're just like saying, "Hey, I want to build a community for musicians," there are very like low chances that people actually join. Versus like if like I don't have an example here for a community, but yeah, so we are like a research and like for example, we're in music, which is a music DAO. Their why is like we're a research and intelligence network for the new music business. And so like the problem is urgent because like people always struggle to find good resources about music, and so yeah, they kind of solve this problem.
Yeah, totally agree with that, especially, with the acknowledge, right? So people have to, be conscious and be aware that, this is a problem, and, this community can actually help me solve this problem that is, painful at the same time and it's
Yeah.
urgent. But, as a community builder yourself, getting started, with Coinvite and, other communities that you have been a part of, what would you say has been the biggest challenge that you have encountered in building these communities, and like how did you deal with them?
Yeah, just maybe before going on the second question, like, does any of you have a question on the first, like the first thing that I say, or just like more general? I would be interested if any of you have already started a community and has defined their why. No one? Great. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. And are people like engaged in your community? Mm-hmm. Nice. Okay, great. Yeah, that's awesome. And so how would you frame your problem in like one sentence? What's your vision if you have to keep in mind the like PAU framework? Like what's the problem you're trying to solve that is painful, knowledge, and urgent for your members? Mm-hmm. Got you. Yeah, I feel like the real value prop you have here is either like people want a job and you can help them get a job, which is like obviously urgent, painful, and knowledge. And the other one is like being more represented in the metaverse, which is maybe less like urgent because like there aren't that many metaverse at this time, but it's still like something that people can have in mind. Um, so yeah, I think that's great. But really, like the more you'll be able to frame your problem in a clear and concise way, and what's the value prop you are offering, the easier it will be for them. You know, 'cause, like it feel like when you're pitching me your community, you're talking about the features, like selling assets and all of that. But what's the core idea and why people should join? And it can be like because we help you find a job, leveraging this new technology that is the metaverse. You know, that can be like a one liner. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And if you have other questions, or is any of you creating another community?
Um, okay, I just wanted to also like make a comment on, like, since Third Academy, we're here because of Third Academy, and to just get that clear. And one of the reasons why the um community exists, right, as an educational collective and a career launch pad, right. So one of the things that we focus on, right, would be is providing free and accessible Web3 education, right,
Mm-hmm.
in trying to solve the problem of that most times this Web3, resources are not really accessible, right.
Uh-huh.
So in that case, just like what we're doing, organizing courses for like Web3 marketing, for Metaverse Foundation, for community managers, we're helping people with solving the problem of that education, and also helping them to launch their career also. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
what can you add that also?
Yeah, sure. So a couple of things here. First of all, educate, like that's the kind of niche that everyone is going for, like educating the next million people to Web3. So I would say here, the more niche you are and the more precise you are on the things you are helping people learn, the easier it will be for you. Uh, so you're right. Like either like we're helping you understand everything about metaverse or everything about this or this. So yeah, being really precise. And second thing is like in your value prop, maybe try to give a reason why. So we want to educate you to the metaverse, so that, and then find something as well. Because like as of today, what's the real reason for people to join your community? It's to learn things about Web3. But like being focused on, for example, you could say like we're like a DeFi community, and we're here to educate more people to Web3 possibilities, so that they can earn more money. Okay, that's like a real value prop. um, and I would say the same for you here. So if you want to focus on the metaverse, for example, because you have one, you can say like we educate you on the metaverse, so that you can build your own, and like I don't know, whatever. But yeah, again, like the more precise you are, the easier it will be for you.
Yeah, yeah, I totally get it, right? And I think that's for the like for example, this course that we have, right? So we're educating you about community management so that you
Uh
can
huh.
launch your community management career. And then in the past, we've had about three cohorts of Web3 marketing, right?
Uh huh.
For mostly people who are like Web2 marketers who have that knowledge and that experience, and they're
Hmm.
trying to transition, with their skills into Web3, and also learn about like the culture and how to carry out marketing. But I think you have a great point, and moving forward for the value proposition to make it more specific, so that we are able to like attract the right people that we're solving their problem with what we are offering. So yeah, thanks for that.
Sure. Yeah, and I think you asked me the question about like how to establish a clear vision for Web3
Yeah, I said
community.
challenges that you had in building communities when you started out with communities.
Say it again. Sorry.
I mean, challenges that you encountered when you
Oh yeah.
started out with building communities. Yes, challenges.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna talk about my experience at Coinvise here, because like that's my main experience in building communities. But yeah, we faced like a couple of challenges. Um, I would say the first one was that we targeted founders. So again, we're helping like community builders, but like in 2021, all of those person was really mainly the founders of the companies. And so by targeting them, it was like very complicated. Like they are really busy people, and so it was extremely complicated to have them all in a group chat sharing knowledge together, because they are just like super busy. They have everything to do to manage their own company and community. And so I would say that the first mistake we did was to target like the wrong quote unquote um, audience, because like they are super busy. The second mistake we did was that we had this awesome suite of tools to help those community builders, and we just assumed they would want to hang out in a Discord on the side. But the truth is, we didn't have like a real reason for them to hang out together. So we did like the main mistake that many, like pretty much everyone is doing, is like you build something and then you believe that you can just create a community on the side. But again, if you don't have a main goal for people to hang out, they just won't. So that's the second thing. And the third one I would say is that I was the only one the only non-technical person on the team, and so I was in charge of managing the community, managing like doing social media management, doing the marketing, doing the growth, and doing everything. And I feel like if you really want to engage community, you need someone who's working on this full time and like really focusing on that. That means like jumping on calls with members. This means animating the community. This means like finding goals, quests, all of that. And so that was the third thing we did wrong, is that I was focusing on everything and nothing all at once. So yeah, this is it. This is it. And how we overcame it, like we pretty much like never really overcame it, and that's that like in the end the community slowly died. And so the thing I would say is like don't start a project and then try to create a community, but only create a community if there's a real reason for it. So if I come back to this Notion example, you can access the Notion tool, for free and like whenever you want. But then you have a community so that like some people can who have already created their templates can share them with you. There's a real value add to have a community. Or if you're talking about Nike, for example, you buy running shoes and then you want to go run with some people, but you know no one in your city. Then you join the Nike community so that you have people in your city that wants to run with you. There's a real value add to have a community, and so I would say that you should create a community only when it enhance your main product, in case you're following a hack first approach.
True. I've seen, a lot of communities that, just come up and, they are not very sustainable in the long term. But, I don't know if anyone has any other thing to say, but, you can just use the chat or you can unmute your mic. But before we get to that, as, most of the things, okay, somebody trying to speak? Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to speak, but then I need to have a seat. So until then, I'll.
You can just move close. You can move close to, where you're trying
um,
to sit and click
yeah,
on it and
I'm
speak.
there. I'm there. I'm trying to click on the pillow, but it's not just clicking. So I don't know.
Maybe you can try another couch. Maybe try another
Okay,
couch.
okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Until I sit,
Yeah,
I'm not going to say anything. But then let's have that on
sure.
that.
All right. So thanks. Okay. So if we have somebody else who wants to say something, feel free to unmute your mic. But since most of the audience that are listening to us right now are community managers, and sometimes when let's say you get employed into a community and you get onboarded as a community manager, it can you can be clueless, right? On like what goals to track or like what are the most important metrics. So, in your own opinion, what would you say are the most important metrics that community managers should focus on that brings the most value to the communities, to stakeholders and to everyone else that is involved? What are the most, in your opinion, like the most important metrics to keep an eye on?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say obviously for me the most important metric is the number of messages that people share and send every day, because like that's a major mistake that I see many communities doing, is like focusing on the number of people that are in the communities, and so the more people you have, the more successful the community is supposed to be. But that's like something that is so completely wrong. And I feel like what's more important is the number of friendships you can create, the number of laughs you create every day, the number of messages that are sent, uh, because again, like when you are joining a community, usually it's to solve a problem. So if we come back to our example with Nike, you don't care to join a community of like a million people in the Nike community, like it doesn't serve you in any way. But if you have this sub community of people passionate about running, and even more, this sub community of people passionate about running in San Francisco, and then you have this group of 20 people that are always down to go run with you, that's when it becomes really useful. So I would say that the number of people in your community really doesn't matter at all. It's only like how much the community solved the problem of the person coming. And so, like for Nike, the main metric would be like how many people always respond yes when someone is trying to go on a run with someone else, you know. And I think you have to like just define this metric beforehand and then optimize everything for it. And in a Discord, this can just means like, yeah, how many messages are sent every day, or you know.
Yeah, and when I was reading through your book, the one
Uh
that you
huh.
just released. I mean,
Uh huh.
if you haven't, if you're listening to me and you don't have that book yet, I encourage you to follow Eliot on Twitter, and you would get you know how to get access to his book that he just released. And from the beginning, you were busting some myths that
Mm-hmm.
communities have and that most community managers have. But before, I want you to talk on that. But before that, I also wanted to just highlight the point about people talking engagement, because I think
Mm-hmm.
people talking is really how you build that sense of belonging and that loyalty. Because if people take their time to as much as engage, or as much as show up, or as much as find the time to interact with others, answer a question, ask a question, contribute to the conversations and the communications that is happening in the community, that actually is a very good metric to see how involved people are. So you could actually have a
Yeah.
community of 100K and nothing is happening, right? It's just it's a cricket sound. But then you could have a community of 5K, 10K, and you have a reasonable amount of people who show up. Because I mean, showing up is hard already, right? But if people take their time to show up, you know I think that's
Mm-hmm.
actually very important. But then I want you to,
Yeah.
talk about the myths, some
And
of the myths that you busted in your book. Like, I want you to just, quickly talk about that.
yeah, sure. Before I move on to this, yeah, I agree with you on the fact that it's already complicated to have people just to show up. So help is even like it's even harder. But I would say like in the case of Nike, you know, like the benefits of showing up is like for both parties, you know, like either you're like because you're showing up to know that when someone is gonna ask for a run, you will be there. So I think that the main goal in our community is to create an incentive for both people to like get something from it, and not just having like newbies asking questions and like an expert kind of answering those questions, because the experts in that case have like no real value to like answer those questions. Except the like social statues of the community. But so yeah, like really like the really think about it, like how can you create something that really incentivize both parties to contribute. Even like for Notion, if you know that you are posting a new template, then you know that when someone else is going to post template, you'll be able to get it as well. So yeah, anyway. And so yeah, talking about the false belief, um, I think there are a couple of false beliefs. With the first one, as I told you, is like people are focusing really too much on growth and on the numbers of your community versus on the intimacy, and like actually how many people actually contribute or actually get something from the community. So that's the first false belief that I talk about in my book. The second one is that many people think that communities are just like a nice add-on to the marketing stack, but don't actually increase sales. Um, and I feel like that's really wrong, because like when you create the real community, when people truly feel like they belong, it's not just another community; it's part of their identity. You know, that's the reason why I don't spend like $50 on a hoodie at Uniqlo, but I spend like $150 on a hoodie at Nike, just because like it's part of my identity, and I want to show up to others that I'm part of this community. Like for Nike, might not be the best example because it's so mainstream, but you get the point. Like I'm really um, like I do a lot of road bike, and there's this brand called Rafa, who have these awesome gears about of riding bikes gears. Um, and so like I could really buy any gears to go biking, but I decided to buy them, which are much more expensive, just because I feel like I belong, and that's a way for me to say here's who I am and here's how I want you to see me. You know. So again, like if you can create a community that is so powerful that people belong to it and really identify themselves to it, which means that you have to create a community based on the existing culture. You cannot like just come up and create a community out of nowhere. You have to implement your community in a existing culture, and then like add a huge value prop for those for the people in this culture. So that's the second thing. And finally, the third false belief I see many community builders have, um, is that yeah, this is there's like one community manager that is supposed to dictate everything, and that's usually the case when there is no real reason for people to join the community, and so you have to kind of force people or talk to them one on one for them to take any action. um, and I would say like that's like it barely work in that case because you can't force people to take action. But the thing you should do instead is like follow a bottom up approach where you really give power to everyone and everyone is coming up shaping the community they want to see. um, and that's the only way you can succeed in doing a community. Because like if you're here at the very top trying to say to your members what they have to do, then you'll prevent them from like actually taking any action by themselves, thinking about what they should do next, or even like forming friendship because you haven't told them so. Sorry. So yeah, I would say like that's and that's obvious. Like when you are hired as a community manager, you want to be at the top and like manage people and tell them what to do and like bring them to the right direction. But I feel like that's wrong in the sense that then you just start on the wrong foundations, and you just have to have people ask them what their problem is, ask them how they think they could solve a problem, and then just like eventually helping them all together solve their problem themselves, but without ever telling them what to do exactly. So yeah, those are the three main false beliefs. Like first, don't focus on the numbers, but focus on intimacy. Second, like communities can actually increase your sale if you're doing it well. And finally, don't follow a top-down approach where you're managing the community, but instead like empower your members to come up with ideas because like they are the ones knowing how to solve their problems.
Yeah, I think that last one is a very hot topic, but I totally get the point, right? So as a community manager, you need to it's more like you have a garden, right? You can't force the flowers to to grow and to boom and to flourish. Your job mostly is create a soil, an environment, and make it easy and convenient for the flower to easily bloom, right, and just
Mhm.
flourish. Yes, that's actually a very good
Exactly.
point.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yes.
when you don't have people engaging in your community, the first reflex is to actually go them and tell them to engage. But I feel like that's already two way ahead, and like you have to come back to the origin and like why don't they engage? And usually the problem is that because you don't have a clear vision, you don't have a clear why, and people don't know why they should join the community. Um, because again, like if you're talking about Dicky Bush and the Ship 30 for 30 community, um, Dicky actually asks people to pay like $500 to join the community. He sells it as like a program or whatever, but down the line, just a community where you have to pay to join. And actually, he has like thousands and thousands of people joining this community and paying 500s. And he doesn't have to tell them what to do exactly. They just join because the value prop is so clear, and the vision is just like you want to write. We have created the community for you to be accountable. And so if you join, we can assure you that you will have someone that reminds you have to write every day for 30 days. And like it's like when you are really clear about what people are going to get, you can even ask them to pay $500 to join the community and they will do it anyway. Versus like some other communities when the why is not really clear, and you have someone trying to manage and force people to do something that they don't want to because they don't see the problem and don't have the solution. So yeah, I think like manage like if you see yourself micromanaging, like trying too hard on something, think about it for a second and ask yourself like, okay, should we redefine our why from the get-go? Does that resonate with any of you? Like any of you have see this in their experience or
Mm. Alibaba, do you want to say something about that? I think you are seated now.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Good day, everyone. I'm well seated close to Dover and then Metaverse page TV. So,
yeah.
yeah, so just having the feel of Metaverse, at least the last time I joined, it wasn't as seamless as this. I wasn't able to listen. The navigation keys were acting up and all of that. So today, just the excitement of today I'm in the class and I'm well seated. I'm listening without any hitch. It's a nice one to me. So yeah, I would likely, throw in my jabs as we progress. But for now, I don't have anything to say. Thank you, Lisa.
Yes, That's a very good one. Thanks, for trying again. Okay, I think for what Elliot said, this in it that's why I love spaces like this. It just gives you the opportunity to learn, unlearn, relearn, and just see from another person's perspective on what you can actually do better, because there's no end to what you can do better and how much you can improve. So we've been the space has been on for about 30 minutes, and it's almost done with the space. And Elliot has talked so much. He has shared his experience, and he has also shared some nuggets from his books that he has released. And if you have had issues listening from the beginning, this space is actually recorded. You can always go back and re-listen to the sections that we have had so far. Since we've talked a bit about goals, and since the topic of our space is community goals and onboarding, Elliot, I would want you to just give us your opinion about community onboarding. What we can do better, and things not to do, and how we can properly onboard new members into our community, especially as community builders who understand how important it is to get members up to speed with your community values and culture, and welcome them, and give them that sense of belonging in the community.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. But I would say the first advice I would give you to like well on board people, usually just to jump on a call with them. That's what Jeff from Jump, which is a Web3 marketing community, is doing. Each time there's a new member joining the community, he just jumps on a call, a 30-minute call with them or her, and explaining everything about the community, the value, the vision, like get to know more about the person and see upfront how he can help them. So that's like really the first thing. If you can, like usually you don't have a huge community, and so that can be really useful. Second thing I would say for well onboarding people, and that's what Jericho Web3 founder community is doing, is actually increasing the barrier at entry to join the community. And so instead of having someone joining straight ahead into the community, which usually results in like a low engagement, you actually increase the barrier at entry and like kind of prevent the person to joining right away. And so what Jericho is doing is like if you want to join their community, you have first to get an NFT, which you can only have if you're referred by an existing member. So you have to know someone from the community if you want to join community. Then you have to jump on an onboarding call with three other people. So you jump with the founder so that you can explain the vision, and you also jump with like other people on the call so that you know a couple of members even before joining the community. Then you have to accomplish some quests. So, for example, it can be curating a couple of articles or writing something about the community. And then finally, you are able to join the community. And that's like an onboarding process that is super long. Like, it took me about 3 weeks to actually join the community. But once I was done, and because I had invested like money, time, effort, anything, I was like really engaged into this community. So I would say like obviously it can be scary to like raise the barrier of your community, but the more you force people to go through the onboarding process, the easier it is in down the line to have them engaged in the community. So yeah, yeah. You have a question, Alibaba?
Yeah, I want to make some input to that submission, right? So maybe that could work for a composite community, maybe just for a small size kind of project that's it's not open like the larger, the larger audience, so to say. Another, when new members join their communities, they like ask them to introduce themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, then they have like a other members, welcome them and stuff like that. Not okay this time around, not just let's say the community managers welcoming them. Like once you join, it pops up that okay, this person has joined. You have been asked to introduce yourself and just say a bit of why you joined and stuff like that. So that way it filters away those that genuinely join for a cause or those that join for just joining the sake. So I think that could work for maybe a bigger project or for a community that embodies quite a number of other users. So yeah,
Yeah. Sorry, I lost you a little bit. Did you ask me a question, or it was just like a fact? Hey, can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It wasn't Alibaba. It wasn't really clear. I think your network connection was a
Yeah,
bit faulty.
unstable. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was. Can you hear us, Alibaba? No, I think maybe he's having um
Connections
network.
issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's having connection issues. Okay, all right. You mentioned jumping balls, but one thing that I would want to say is, do you think that that will be visible for like large communities? Let's say communities that have 25K to 30K members. Do you think that can actually work for like the community manager and not lead to burnout and stuff like that? Like for
Mm-hmm.
larger communities, how can we like keep up with everything that's happening as well as with helping members to stay connected?
Yeah, again, I think it depends on what you call a community. But like communities who have like 25,000 members or even more, usually it's more like you have kind of a brand or a project and you just gather people in a Discord on the side. But it's more like to like keep those people aware of what you're doing with your main brand, main project, versus like being this a real community. Um, So yeah, the same example as I gave you with Nike. Of course, you can be part of the Nike community, the main Nike community with like a million members, but you don't actually engage there. You don't actually need to be onboarded because like nothing really happens there. It's more a way for Nike to like give news and like just share some stuff there. Um, so I would say like if you want to create a real community and solve a real problem, you can only do it with a small group. Um, and so you can still like do the one-on-one stuff. And even for Jump, like I think there are like about 500 even more members, and like Jeff did a call with all of them. So sure, it takes a long time, but I feel like that's a kind of a pre like required to have those people really engaged. And I would rather spend 30 minutes with any new members than just having them join the community and then don't see them ever again. So I think yeah, that's a unique opportunity that you have to actually talk to them, get to know them, and engage them upfront. That you shouldn't miss.
Yeah, that's just thinking about it, that's actually a very good point. um yeah, okay, all right. So I wanted you to like share with us. I know you mentioned Jump, but can you share with us like Web3 communities that you are aware of that have successfully scaled while maintaining that strong sense of community culture and values? Like, what are your favorite communities, and what do you think they did different that contributed to their success?
Yeah. Again, I feel like the main point of a community is just to two way. Either you're following like a creator first approach, where like mainly the community is the product, and in that case, um, and in that case you just want like people to be engaged. Either you're following like an act first approach, and in that case the goal of the community is to enhance the main product. For example, if we're talking about Harley Davidson, the motorbikes, they have like a really good hack which is like reliable motorcycle, and then you have this community around that enhance the product because you can go ride with others. Same thing with the Nike shoes and the community, same thing with Notion, and the community with like the templates. So I would say like the only way if you want to scale a community is to have like a real value add to join the community, and having something that enhance the product. Same thing for Rafa, the road bike brand that I told you about. Like they also organize like uh, bike ride with members so that you have people to go on bike ride with. So that's the main thing on how you can scale communities to actually have a value add, I would say. And second thing, yeah, if your community is a product, then in that case, the real value add is like the feeling of belonging. And I know D God, for example, is a community that's really scaled in the past months. And despite having more and more members, they keep the same spirit because like really they focus all their effort on like providing value to the members. And so when you're doing this, like everyone's coming up, every member's coming up with like new signs, new like anything, new opportunities, new yeah, pretty much anything. And still they have the same vision, and so they are able to like scale even though they're new members. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it goes back to like the first point, like your why, and then the value that your value add. Just one final question is, for someone who's just starting out as a community manager, and it's kind of clueless, right? So what advice would you give to that person on how to scale their career and how to also bring value to the community that they work for? What would be your advice to that person?
Hmm. If you're just starting a community, I would say, yeah, just a couple of advice here. First of all, you have to like what we call like doxing yourself, like revealing your real identity. I think like down the line, when you build a community, it's all around like one main leader, at least at the beginning. So you really have to like own the community and like say who you are, and then create a storytelling around who you are and how you solve this problem. The very first thing you should do as a community builder, if you're like the figure behind the community, is to share your story. And basically it goes something like, um, yeah, like I'm like someone like you. I had a problem, I find a solution. uh, Here's how my life is better thanks to this solution, and now I'm creating this community so that you can enjoy this solution as well. And if you feel this like storytelling arc, and then you can gather people around yourself and your vision, is like the best way to start a community uh, from the beginning. Now, if you're like doing like something for existing brand and existing company, might be more complicated, but you can like follow different story arc um, to engage people. So, for example, if you're working for a big company, you can say like, there's a normal state which is not the one we are here. Something happened that like broke the normal state we're supposed to be in, but there is a solution. If you take this action, we can go back to this normal state, and then we go back to this normal state. And that's like, for example, you can say we used to be for Notion, we used to be able to like write down everything and organize our life easily. Then internet came in and we added like a cool tools to organize our life. Then we build these tools, and if you use it, it will be much easier for you to organize your life. And like, anyway, I don't have their stories exactly, but you get the ideas that you have to create some storytelling around yourself or your company when you're starting a community. So yeah, those are the advice, like yeah, creating a story, doxing yourself, like exposing your identity, and like just starting simple and like asking your friends around you. Don't start trying to create, I don't know, something you have no knowledge about or nothing, or you are not interested in. Just go talk to your friends, go talk to the people in the forums that you hang out with, and yeah, just start simple. Does any of you have any questions on what I said or something they want to add? I think this was the last question. So if you have any questions for me, or if you want any advice on your community more specifically, I think that's your time to shine. Cool. Rita, do you have something to add? All right. Yeah, Rita, I feel that right. Yeah, maybe we can wait like a minute or two. Oh, okay, she's coming back in. Cool.
Hey, hello.
Hello.
How are you? Am I audible?
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, how are you, buddy?
Very good.
So
I
I have
think
a
we're
question.
sorry.
Sorry, sorry, go on, go on.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry, I fell out.
Yeah. No worries.
All right, so we're almost at the end of our space. If you have like any final words that you would want to say, before we come to the end of the space,
You saying
how
something?
can we? How can people connect with you? How can we connect with you outside of this place? Any final words?
Yeah, I feel the easiest way for you to connect is just to follow me on Twitter. Maybe I am gonna drop the my handle in the chat. So yeah, just go follow me, and you can get like my book and everything that I shared in this space. So yeah, the easiest way to connect with me is on Twitter. My handle is CDT Eliot. So yeah, just go follow me there.
Okay, yeah,
I think someone is trying to speak.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
go
Can you
ahead.
hear me properly?
Yes, 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 we can hear you. Go ahead.
So I was saying something. So Eliot, how are you, buddy?
Doing very good. Doing very good.
So I'm Mayank, and I have a question for you. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like I have been in this space for like 3 years since 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and like I have been doing some moderator jobs since then, and like growing and learning every day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I want to grow myself to like head of committee or coordinator position, but it's a hard time to get something onto. Like, what are the specialized skills we can work on to get onto that, or like any tips you have for me to work on, or like something?
If you want to become a community manager, you say?
Yeah, committee manager, head of committee, or like committee lead.
Yeah.
So
Well,
to
really,
like to something like to grow up on the scale, to grow up on the ground. Like
yeah, really, the easiest way to get like the skills required, at least in my opinion, is to read my books. I think they're like very like the first one is 40 pages, the second one is 60 pages, so it would take you like 3 to 4 hours. And I think you really get all I learned in 2 years of building communities. So I would say this would be like your start, the place to start. And then, like another advice I can give you, if you really want to become a community manager, is to go on Twitter and start building your brand on Twitter and sharing what you know about community building, showing that you know stuff. If you don't, you can just like take someone else's content and add your own twist to it, or just like repurpose what they said. So if you want like take any part of my book and do a thread about it and just like give some insights on your own perspective about what I said, that's I think a cool way to attract some attention at the beginning from potential recruiters. But yeah, just on a skills part, I think like reading as much as you can, starting with my book, and yeah, and from there, if you really go on Twitter, start following a couple of people interested in community building, you'll find more resources, and you can really get up to speed really quickly. Uh, yeah, like I know Rita knows a bunch of people in the community space. I can think of Paulina or Alia or Alina. I don't know, Rita, if you can share some resources with Mayang, but I think that can be useful for him as well. Oh, yeah, yeah. So hope, yeah, it answered your question, Mayang.
all thank you very much, huh? And I
Of
have
course.
been follow on Twitter.
Okay, awesome. Cool.
Thank you very much.
So, yeah, if you have any other question, I think we can wrap up here. I actually have another call in like 5 minutes. So,
Yes, this has been a very interesting space. Thank you very much for joining us. We've come to the end of the space. Yeah, so just a I think you're free to leave at this time so that we don't delay you. Just a quick announcement. And that tomorrow, I'm inviting, everyone. Tomorrow we have a metaverse space also with crypto equalizers tag protecting your assets. If you would want to be a part of that, reach out to me on Discord and I would get an invite across to you to attend that section. The title is protecting your assets, your crypto assets, and security tips to stay up to date in the space. Don't forget, I shared some links on Discord earlier today. um for Monday we started community building 101, where we started building our strategy as a community manager, so that when you get employed, or when you get onboarded into a community, you are not clueless as to how to get started, right? So that would help you. I made a recorded video this morning, my morning, that I sent to Discord. I think you should go through that and also create for yourself. You can do for a community you're working for. You can even do for a community that you like to own in the future, or just any community that you like. I mean, you can send it to them, and that can actually give you a job in that company, right? So take time to do that. And for each classes that we would have every Monday, would update the sheet, the document. It's going to be like you can put it in Notion page or in a Google Docs, right? Because we're going to update it for each classes that we have, and that would contribute to the final scores for the NFTs that would be awarded, including the tests that we are going to have at the end of our 5 weeks class. So please, I encourage you to take it very seriously. And I know that most of you are not aware, but I was actually a part of the Third Academy's Web3 Marketing 101 course 1 year ago. And I was actually very diligent with classes, doing the case studies and those all of those things. And I mean, that was a game changer for me, right? So please take it seriously. If there's an assessment, doing it would give you more clarity moving forward, so that when you because I've had a lot of people come to me personally, and they get onboarded and they don't know what to do. They don't know the first thing to do. They don't know how to get started. And that does not really tell a good story of your brand. So yeah, on Monday we would have a section about community engagement. And for Thursday, we have the founder of Angry Mods, AMA. She'll be with us to also talk. I think she has a community of moderators and managers. So she'd also be with us to talk about community and how to engage your members. I'm sure that personally for me, I actually learned from the space that we just had with Eliot. And I'm sure that, you were able to also get something too. So if you have something that you want to say, so that it's not just me talking, if you have something you want to say, it's okay. You can unmute your mics and share your opinion. How was first of all, I would want to ask. Let's just chill for like the next 2 minutes. Like, so far, how has your experience been, especially with you know navigating this new space for most of us? How has it been with you know the tech exactly? I don't know if and the experience, like good or bad, like negative, positive, like how would you describe your experience so far for like the three sessions that we have had? If anyone wants to go ahead and speak, feel free to do that, or you can use the chat section. Anybody? I see Zilov, I see Zelda. Okay, I think somebody unmuted. I see Mayank, Mugunki, um, Favor. Yeah. So if you have something that you want to say, feel free to unmute your mic. And I know Mugunki has been. Okay, somebody unmute. All right, go ahead. Someone was trying to speak. Zeda, do you want to say something? Okay, Favor.
Hello,
Hi. Yeah, we can hear you. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
No
Just that I've
problem.
been the one standing outside.
Oh, you didn't know how to move. You can use the W key to move forward. It's not working for
Yeah,
you.
I was actually no, I traveled and I didn't travel with my system. So just this
Oh,
week, I've been logging in with my phone. to access inside have been difficult for me. I'll just stand and watch from outside.
But you have been hearing everything that we have been saying.
Yeah,
Like you have
yeah,
been
yeah.
keeping up
I can see the screen from outside too.
on your phone, on your mobile phone.
Yes. Yes, it's a
You're
mobile phone,
using
yeah.
Chrome browser.
Yeah, I'll just go through the link, the Safari. It's iPhone,
Oh,
so go through Safari.
okay,
But the
okay. Well,
thing there that I can't now move, I'll just stand outside and bring down. It's really been crazy. I feel like my legs are paining me actually.
Can you imagine? Even when you're not physically standing, it feels like. I mean, it happened to me one time, and I was sitting, but on the space I was standing, and I just felt like I've been standing, my legs. Let me just sit. I was like, oops.
No, seriously, the thing has a way of affecting you physically as if you're the one standing. But it's okay. I'm
It
enjoying
does.
the class. Yeah,
It
I'm
does. It
enjoying it.
does. It
Thank you
does.
very much. Thank you
No,
for
no
the
problem. What?
opportunity. It's really an interesting one. Yeah.
Sure. What's your Discord username? Maybe we can connect on Discord. I don't think most people know that they can join with their phone.
Okay. Favor Bioma on Discord.
Only not access.
Okay. It's Favor Bioma on Discord.
Okay, okay. Maybe you can share that information with us. Are you on the community management channel?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, please share that information with us so that those who don't have access to a computer can join us next time. But they can't move, but at least they can participate in the class.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Um. So, does anyone has anything else to say? We've come to the end of the class. We're just, trying to catch up. If you have something that you want to say, Zeda, do you want to say something? I know you have been keeping up so far.
Nah, I've just been jotting down things and paying attention.
Nice, nice, nice. Have you
Mm.
started? Have you started the assessment from Monday? I mean, you can actually do submit that towards like the end of the. If you can catch up towards like the end of the classes and everything like that.
All right. I just got the link today though, so I'll go over it later.
Okay, okay. That's fine. All right, cool. Mugunki, I know you asked a question to Eliot, but I didn't really catch the question. Maybe I could provide you extra resources. Do you want to maybe repeat that? Or was it Mayank? I didn't know who asked that question. I'm sorry if I got that wrong.
Right, man. That was me.
It was you, Mayank.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. I hope I'm correcting it. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correct.
Yeah,
Please
yeah, yeah.
correct me if I'm not. Okay. Okay. What was your question? Maybe I could drop an advice or two for you.
So it was the same question as in the last guest speaker session, where I asked for growing up to a community manager, community head, or community lead position. Like I asked for some like tips or resources to work, tips or skills to work on to get onto the position.
Okay, like for as a professional community manager, is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Okay. I think one advice that is underrated that people do not really take is when it comes to building the personal brand. Um, not many people take that into like consideration, and that's one of the important things, right? Because by doing that you don't really have to. The thing why I love Web3 so much is that sometimes to manage your first community and get paid for it, you don't really have to be have so much experience, right? There are some transferable skills that you have from Web2 that you could transfer into Web3. I know when I started, it was I before when I managed my first community, right? I didn't really have knowledge prior about communities, right? But I was able to do that because first of all, I have been participating in communities, so I see what is going on there, and I was taking note of that, right? But as we moved on, I realized that building my personal brand is actually one of the best things that I can actually do for myself. So what I started doing, I started reading content on communities, right? So for a period that I was learning, I was sharing my knowledge on Twitter, right? I was jumping on spaces, I was hosting spaces, I was branding myself as a community manager and just sharing the knowledge that I have, right? So I think that most of what I see on X today is that most people are just sharing motivational quotes and inspiration and advice, which is good, right? But you can stand out by the kind of content that you put out, right? So when you share about communities, you're actually standing out from the person who just gets motivational quotes from ChatGPT and just share, right? And then sharing your opinions about community, make sure you are sharing your opinion, right? So everything that Eliot has shared with us, his opinion based on his experience, right? Everything that I share with you is my opinion based on my experience, right? And so everything that you share, make sure it is your opinion and what you have seen that works, right? Or what you have seen over time tested that works. So you want to share that. You want to participate in communities because by participating you see what is going on, and then when you get a chance, right, you're able to not copy pasta into your community but learn and see what worked for that community and actually bring that into your community also, right? So there are a lot of things that you can do, but building your personal brand and then connecting with other community builders on Twitter would actually be very very helpful to you. So sharing content would help you stand out. It might take a while, nobody might be interacting with you, but make sure you connect with other community builders. Connect with them on Twitter, contribute to their post, right? So you want to like, you want to share. With time, Twitter brings, when the algorithm see the kind of content that you interact with, they bring more of it to your for you page. So you see more community builders, you connect with them, build relationships, and that's how opportunities just open, right? And then when you apply for a project, right, your Twitter can be your proof of work, right? So when a project goes to your Twitter and see the nuggets that you have shared about community, they feel like, all right, let's give him a chance, or let's give her a chance, or let's give this person a chance, right? So that's what I just wanted to add to that. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, thank you. Got it.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, sure, no problem. You're welcome. Um, but and this how long before the space will close up? Paige, are you there? How long before the word closes up? Okay, okay, that's cool. I see someone just joined in. I see George. Hi, George. We just ended at the class. Thank you, Paige. Whoa.
Yeah, Paige, I think I love the bubble bee game. That's actually really cool. Yeah. It is. Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you.